stupid, pampered douchebags defend looting.
Would you steal from Whole Foods?
You want to go first?
Yes, and I have under very specific circumstances. I think that stealing from a big box store, I'll just state my platform. It's neither very significant as a moral wrong, nor is it significant in any way as protest or direct action. But I did steal from Whole Foods on several occasions.
I'm pro stealing from big corporations because, you know, they steal quite a bit more from their own workers.
But what about the argument that if everyone just starts stealing wantonly from these self-checkout machines, Whole Foods will eventually raise the prices?
Yeah, chaos, full chaos. Let's go.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Great answer. Corporations don't have locks on their doors. I bet those people do. And I would like to check on that and see if they do dig in. What do you make of this micro-looting from these flippant, like, trust fund babies? I think all of them there are well off.
I want to talk about the twit chick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm showing up at her Brooklyn townhouse with my Sawzall, and I'm cutting a portal right in her front door, and I'm going in, because I did look up who she's married to, and I'm gonna go in and I'm just gonna take some of her children's juice boxes every now and then. And I will show back up with my reciprocating saw just after you've had your door fixed. Because that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And people who work in retail or who have to work jobs when they're teenagers actually understand the downside of theft, because if you work in a store that has too much shrink, your store gets closed.
Yes.
If it's a chain, and people lose their job.
And they're always in like neighborhoods that actually needed the drugstores.
Right.
Those are the ones that close. Those don't know that. Excuse my language. Kennedy. I want to point to another elitist lefty douche. She's the lead singer of The Strokes, Julian Casablancas. Remember, his dad was like
John Casablancas.
Yes, wasn't he charged with like rape and stuff? He was a really bad perv. Anyway, we won't talk about that. But they were all socialites. Now they're socialists and anti-Semites.
What is another take? Give me another one. These are really good.
You want the most controversial one? American Zionists get the benefits of, white privileged people, but talk like they are black people during slavery.
100% agree. I've never seen something so shocking where they're like, I'm so
oppressed.
I'm an oppressed person. I'm like, you are going to a wedding in Tel Aviv right now when there are 80,000 dead people, and more, 80,000 plus dead people, including women and children, half a mile away.
Kennedy. So, like, the Jews aren't really targeted by like Hamas or anything, because they're
The
just
far
white.
right, the far left,
Yeah.
pretty much everyone
Yeah.
who's not a rational person kind of.
Why? Okay, let me ask you. So you see that other dude, I can't remember, Hassan, whatever his face is, and then you got this guy. It's like, what is behind? Like, they live completely differently than the way they speak. They don't want chaos.
No, absolutely not. And Julian Casablancas, he's the lead singer of The Strokes. His band has sucked for a long time. They had a pretty good record in 2020. But, everything like the 10 years before, and I'm sure the 10 years after, will be pretty much garbage, because he is a Nepo baby who has lost the muse.
Yeah.
And now he's trying to find relevance by going to the most extreme progressive talking points that he probably cribs from Hassan Piker, who was the guy in the first video that you showed. And the people they're trying to appeal to, like the radicals, they're already there, and they are one hot take away from completely turning their backs on these people.
Yeah.
Because like the audience that they're going for is incredibly fickle. But also, back to the point about shoplifting. So they interviewed a bunch of people who were on food stamps, who do occasionally go to Whole Foods and take advantage of the sales and, trying to find healthy food. And they're like, if we try to do that, one woman's like, I'm a black single mom. I would get arrested.
Yeah.
Like they're telling me to go into Whole Foods and steal. And, to Dagan's point, the Fancy Pants lives in a $2.5 million brownstone in Brooklyn. Like they are rich people who are completely out of touch. And what this guy is saying is also so out of touch because you're talking about a group of people who are subjected to a genocide, who in this day and age in this city are subjected to talk of genocide constantly. Like they're worried about genocide. They don't have to compare themselves to anyone. They have their own unique problems that these guys very conveniently just turn their back on and will never acknowledge what Hamas has done to Palestine.
Yeah. Tyrus, when you walk into a Walgreens or a CVS, everything is locked up. That's not chaos. That's just the hyper security you get.
Well, I'm relieved because I thought that was just a Tyrus thing.
Yeah.
Here he comes. Quick. I just have one question. Who watches this?
Yeah.
My God, like, for real, like, whatever the first thing was.
Yeah.
Was the host the big one?
I couldn't tell.
Because you can't host if you are out of breath when you talk.
Yeah.
She didn't get through the sentence. Did y'all not see that? She acted like she was on a Stairmaster that somebody accidentally put on 10 because she was like, do you guys ever? And then went in right into Starbucks voice, when we steal, I don't think anyone's watching this, but it's an echo chamber. I don't think no one's like, yo, let's watch the pudgy girl run out of breath while she talks about the dude who thinks he's Matt Walsh and the other chick who can't make up or whatever she did to her face. Is she a clown? What the hell happened to her cheeks?
Yeah.
Is that her pregame ritual? I steal. She looks like an angry squirrel.
Yeah, she's...
No, she's Canadian.
Oh, Charlie, Tyrus makes a good point that, probably we amplify this more than we probably get more viewers for them.
But I mean, how do you resist? It's so fun. These people are so ridiculous, and it's so fun to make fun of them. I don't think any serious person is listening to any of this crap. And these guys on the subway, they're just like mugging for TikTok. They've heard something and they want to sound smart. They want to sound dangerous, so they say stupid stuff. You can have all kinds of reasonable conversations about Israel and the war and all that kind of stuff. But this is just, the idea that somehow they're all Israelis are slavers is ridiculous. I also love if that lady, what did you call her? The TikTok lady, the twit gal, the twit chick. If she heard Dagan threatening to come to ours, the only thing she would say is, "What's a sawzall?"
I would say that.
All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new podcast, Hanging Out with me, Sean Hannity. The big interviews, the debates you won't get anywhere else. Like and subscribe for new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday.